Today on Rat and Cat, massive waterfalls in the United States that you'll never ever see. Ever. Welcome to Rat and Cat, where I once again am veering off topic of wilderness survival to explore colossal waterfalls in the United States never to be seen again. Before I go any further, I should let you know that after spending most of my life living next to the Columbia River or its tributaries, I often like to imagine what it would have been like to be here before there was any development on the rivers. So in this video, you may hear some disappointment from me regarding the effects of dams. However, I do recognize that there are also benefits to having dams, but I'm not going to focus on that in this video. I just wanted to acknowledge that because I know some people are dam sensitive about dammed rivers here in the United States. Moving right along. The United States used to be home to some of the most massive waterfalls in the world. Some disappeared from natural causes, but most were recently destroyed by humans. So let's get started with the countdown. Number 6, Albany Falls, Idaho. Okay, this is more of a giant rapid than a waterfall, but because I grew up in this area, I'm going to include Albany Falls. In 1951, they blew it up and built a dam on it, expanding the edges of Pend Oreille Lake. Pend Oreille Lake is one of the largest and 5 deepest natural lakes in North America. We're talking military secrets deep. Anyhow, the waterfall's gone. Number 5, Marble Falls on the Colorado River, Texas. There's not a big backstory to this falls other than Marble Falls was pretty big. In the mid-1800s, they built a town at Marble Falls. Mills popped up. Then in 1910, enough funds were raised to build a dam on the river, power the mills, and crush this natural wonder once and for all. Crushed. Number 4, St. Anthony Falls. Formed during the last ice age, the falls may have measured 2 miles wide and 200 feet high. Eagles fed on the fish there and nested on a sacred island in the middle. The Dakota called the Mississippi River Hahawakpa, River of the Falls. It took 10,000 years for the falls to erode 10 miles, but once Europeans got to it, it was destroyed in just about 10 years. Logs going over the falls and the construction of about a dozen mills on the falls rapidly eroded the area. Then in 1868, 2 men wanted more water to power their mill. Eastman and Merriam were 500 feet into building a 2,000-foot diversion tunnel beneath the falls when it collapsed. Despite efforts to save the falls, the powerful currents ripped the natural wonder apart. Today, it looks like this. Number 3, Z Canyon, Washington. The Pend Oreille River runs several hundred feet wide in many places, with a flow that can run between 12,000 and 130,000 cubic feet per second. But in Z Canyon, this large river was put on its side and narrowed down to a passage just 17 feet 8 inches wide. In fact, this is where the first precarious bridge across the Pend Oreille was built, with cliffs towering 250 feet above. Naturally, folks thought, we need to build a dam here. But wait, just downstream was a more suitable location, and in 1961, Boundary Dam was built, and today provides, on average, 46% of Seattle, Washington's electricity. On a side note, Boundary Dam was used as a post-apocalyptic set piece for Kevin Costner's film The Postman. The dam, of course, flooded the falls and rapids of Z Canyon. On the bright side, there's still world-class calm water kayaking through the canyon, with some spectacular views. Number 2, Celilo Falls in the Columbia Gorge. It was once said of the Columbia River that the millions of salmon ran so thick through it that you could walk across the river on their backs. For 15,000 years, villages surrounded the falls because of the readily available salmon. In fact, until 1967, Celilo was the oldest continually inhabited community on the North American continent. You see, the average annual flow of the Columbia River was about 190,000 feet per second. And during periods of high water or floods, as much as 1,240,000 feet per second pass over the falls. At Celilo Falls, all the water narrowed down to a 150-foot wide gap filled with small islands during the summer that were perfect for fishing from. But we built a dam on it in the 1950s, so now it's gone, and so are most of the salmon. Gone. Anyhow. Number 1, Dry Falls, Washington. Ah, the scablands of Washington State. This is one of those places that seems as boring as heck until you know what happened here. Nearly 20,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, evidence shows a huge glacier dam gave way near Clark Fork, Idaho, releasing the gigantic Lake Missoula, which covered over 3,000 square miles in Montana. Scientists believe this happened dozens of times. Each time it did, it released a river of epic proportions. and channeled water at 65 miles per hour through the upper Grand Coulee and over a 400-foot rock face. It's estimated that the falls were 3.5 miles wide, or 5 times the width of Niagara Falls, with 10 times the flow of all current rivers in the world combined. Today, there's nothing left but the dry falls and a series of lakes that still sit at the bottom of this large canyon, a canyon that runs a quarter of the way across Washington state. But there are still secrets to be found here if you poke around. One is the Blue Lake Rhino Cave, a cave that was formed by the body of an ancient ancestor of the modern rhino when it was swept away in a lava flood. But that's another story for another time. How about you? Can you think of a massive waterfall or natural feature near you that isn't there anymore? We'll look forward to hearing your stories in the comments below. Until next time, this is Rat and Cat, and I'm Nakia. Get out there, be safe, and enjoy the wild.